What's good, family? What's good? It's your boy, Urban Sports Guru. And let me hit y'all, give y'all my picks for the AFC and NFC Championship game. First, we're going to start with the NFC. The NFC is on my brain right now. And we have a matchup of Titans. We have two of the most talented teams in football, Philly being the most talented. Then I look at all the stacked talent that San Francisco has. San Francisco has a really stacked, talented roster. And one of the things that makes them so stacked, Philly, before I get that, one of the things that makes San Francisco so stacked is the great guys they have. They have guys that literally are on the top in their positions. George Kittle, when healthy, is one of the top tight ends in football. Nick Bosa is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's one of the best edges in football. Trent Williams is the best lineman, if not just left tackle in football. You know, Debo is one of the best all-purpose receivers in football. You know, um, Fred Warner is one of the best middle linebackers in football. The safety Tunga has established himself as one of the best safeties in football. Like, I can keep going. And Kyle Shanahan has established himself offensively as one of I think the best offensive mind in football. Maybe between him and Andy Reid, they right there. So that's what makes them so great on both sides of the ball. When I look at Philly, their stack talent, they just have and so much of abundance and depth. They have great guys, some guys that are plug and play, but then they have a whole bunch of other guys that where it's like they have the best offensive line in football. They have Lane Johnson, who I think is, when healthy, the best right tackle in football. And everyone else is Pro Bowl level. I look at their defensive line. They don't have any one player as good as Nick Bosa. Yes, Hassan Reddick has had a great season, but just he is not anywhere close to being as good as Nick Bosa. He's not in the post. He's not in the conversation with as far as overall him being as good as a Bosa or him being as good as a um on Cleveland. I'm forgetting his name, Miles Garrett. But he's had a great season. And then you look at all the depth they have. Four guys with over 10 sacks. And you have Fletcher Cox. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great depth. They have the best line groups in football on both sides. They have the best offensive line in football, and they have collectively the best defensive front in football. And when I look at Philly's talent also in the secondary, I think Philly has the best secondary in all of football. They can cover across the board anybody because they have Bradbury on one side, who's been to a Pro Bowl, and I think is going again this year. Then you have Slay, who's one of the top corners in the league. He's been a multi-time Pro Bowler, and he's stepped it up. He's all pro this year. So these are guys who can cover. Then you got Chauncey Gardner Johnson, who also can cover and make plays. Great as getting his hands on the ball. So I think across the board they have the best safety. They have the best secondary in football. So position groups, I think that's where Philly has them. Then I look at their skill positions. AJ Brown is great. AJ Brown is great. Um, Devontae Smith is great. When I look at their position group, skill positions on offense, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, then you have Dallas Goddard. You know what I'm saying? Two great outside receivers. They have the best group of talent, of position groups, pass catchers and rushers in football. But I think the difference in this game is going to be at quarterback. Brock Purdy has been exceptional. He really has. He has been exceptional. But he's going up against a guy who, before his injury, would have been the MVP. Without question in my mind, he would have been MVP. It was just him and Patrick Mahomes was like this. And he nudged up ahead, but then they missing those games, Patrick Mahomes took it. You know, That matters at this point in the year, having a guy who can play that well. It just matters. Brock Purdy is having an exceptional year. Kyle Shanahan's doing an exceptional job with him. And that defense collectively in San Fran is exceptional. I think the difference in this game is when Brock Purdy goes up against the Eagles defense. That's going to be the difference because as great as Kyle Shanahan is, and I think what San Fran does well, the way they're able to rush to the outsides, rush at those defensive ends. Where I think the few weaknesses of Philly's defense exists, you can run it at the ends. I told y'all last week this is where the Giants could get them, and I see this is what Kyle Shanahan does. It nobody does it better than Shanahan. Then everything about that passing game is about getting those nice, easy throws in between the numbers. I see Philly taking that away. And once you take that away, then like, okay, what's plan B? And that's where the game is going to come in. Philly's giving three. I see Philly winning a close game, but covering that 3 points. Now let's go to the AFC. I have a hard time believing. When I look at both teams, Cincinnati is the more talented team. They have way more talent. Even last year's team. I mean, Cincinnati is a lot more talented on the skill positions without question. A lot more talented. And defensively, they're more talented, especially in the secondary with those two safeties. They do such a great job of limiting big plays. And that was one of the problems that KC had, especially last year. Both of those games again, Kansas City could have and probably should have won. I told y'all last year that the AFC Championship game, that those when Kansas City was in the red zone, that was some of the worst play calling I've ever seen. That shit was just as bad to me as what Seattle did not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. That horrible play calling cost Kansas City a chance to win another Super Bowl. Just my take, because I think that Kansas City team beats the Rams. I trusted Mahomes a lot better than I trusted that Rams team. However, been a lot of talking, and I don't trust Kansas City's defense. I don't. And the thing that Cincinnati, if their offensive line is going to be playing like that, how the hell are you going to beat them? I tweeted that live. If their O line's playing like this, how are you going to beat them? There's no way to beat them. The one problem they had was that offensive line. If they're going to be playing like that, how are you going to beat them? If they're going to be dominating on the line of scrimmage like that and be able to just pound and run at you in the second half, how are you going to beat them? Kansas City gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I love Chris Jones. I really do. I love those other rushers. They really doing their job now. This year, they really getting it done. But the one thing that really makes me go for Kansas City is there's been a lot of talking. And I love Joe Burrow. Know what Joe Burrow is to me? Joe Burrow, everyone's been wanting to see a quarterback do things that aren't traditional. They want to see a quarterback actually have the swagger. They want to see a quarterback who's willing to talk shit. Everybody's wanting to see that because everyone quarterback is a very corporate position. You know, guys don't really say much and all that, and I get that. Everybody's been want. I think the world has been wanting to see a quarterback with edge, and I think that's what why people gravitated towards um, Baker Mayfield. I think this is the reason why people gravitated to Baker Mayfield, myself included. Coming out of college, I was a big Mayfield fan. But then you slowly began to see that he wasn't the game changer that you wanted him to be to have that swagger. When I look at Joe Burrow is what we wanted Baker Mayfield to be. Because he is that game changer. Look what he's done in Cincinnati. Win, lose, or draw. Look what he's gotten accomplished in 3 short seasons. And you see it's because of him, not in spite of him. Like his contract's coming up in The only question is there's no question about no matter what he does in this game. There's no question about are you paying him or not. The only question is how far are you resetting the market. That's the only question. Because are you paying him? You're damn right you're gonna pay him. Are you giving him 200? Probably. Are you giving him a completely guaranteed contract? That's the only question. That's literally the only question. However, there's been so much talking, and I have a hard time believing with all the talking that's been happening and everybody with the okay, Burrowhead, Kansas City can't beat Cincinnati when Kansas City should have won both of those games. I really got a feeling that they poking the bear. And I got this pit of my stomach feeling that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to open the meanest can of whoop ass and close the deal and win this time. Because they should have won both games before. First game in regular season last year, they got their ass smoked. AFC title game, they should have won. Played early this year, they should have won. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I think they get it done this time. That's my take. Those are my picks. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, see me in the comments. It's your boy Urban Sports Guru. I'm out. Salute.